on earth. Hi, my name's John Birmingham. This is why I'm the most successful person. You know why? Can you guess why? Because I have God and Jesus. And God let me know that okay, I'm just going to talk about my resume as if I am the most successful person on earth. Because God let me know I can with God you can do. That's incredible. Do anything. When you have man, you can do nothing. It will eventually lead to nothing. No love, burning in hell for all eternity. So you don't. Some people are going to be homeless no matter what. That's their way of suffering and being the least of others to get in. But it's possible to do anything with God when you have God, because God can do anything. You can't do anything if you have only men or man. Unless you have God, then you can do anything. So I'm just going to talk about my resume and act like it's the biggest I can. Okay. When I was 17, I started college. Younger than most anyone starts college. I was only 17 and I was already a genius at playing drums. And I had tried to sing a little bit before. I was really good at playing guitar. I had recorded some of my own music. I did all the work to record it myself. And I had played a live show that I recorded on video. I had a bunch of videos that I filmed. I was already a person who was making videos when I was a kid. Hi, this is why I have the hugest resume on earth. I'm just going to try to go for it and try to say why I'm the most successful person on earth, because people are starting to say I was like, I don't know. They're trying to look down on me and stuff, and I felt bad. And so I'm standing up for my abilities. Well, I started college when I was 17. I worked really hard at school and I got into 9 colleges and universities. I think I was matriculated in 9 colleges and universities. I started at Virginia Western Community College. I got into Radford University, Virginia Tech, Virginia Polytechnic Institute. I had almost all A's to be able to get into those really good schools. And went to Kingsborough Community College. I didn't want to live up to Roanoke College later. I got accepted to all the I went to Otis College of Art and Design. I wasn't accepted there, but I just took some classes there. I took some classes at UCLA Extension, but didn't get accepted. USC didn't get accepted. And I got into LMU, which is the #7 film school, and I got my screenwriting degree from there. And then I got into Chapman University. That's the #4 film school by Hollywood Reporter. Hollywood Reporter ranks it as #4, so it's one of the most elite film schools on earth. I got a scholarship to attend and got my MFA starting when I was 24 years old. Kind of young to be getting your MFA. Most of the kids were a little older than me. There's one kid that was like really young, and I started getting my MFA at one of the best film schools on earth when I was 24 for my hard work at school. I made a feature film. First, I made a bunch of short films by the time I was that age. We we made a short film that was a $46,000 budget that we worked really hard at, that I carried all sets by hand and loaded up a truck physically and did all the work to make the entire movie, besides the camera operating and grip stuff and all the camera crew. They did that, and I did the physical building of all the sets and helped with that too. And and I had to do a bunch of work. We have to pay for it when I was 22. When I was 22, back then it was only $26,000, but for today's money it would be $46,000. It was in the year 2000. It was called Imagination. I did all this cool art on it and did production design, and then I started working as a production designer. I got my degree from LMU after that. Well, right then that summer, I had just gotten my 4-year degree from LMU after I went to all those other schools. I got my bachelor's degree in screenwriting, and so I had that on my resume. Then I worked as a production designer. I worked. for Full Moon Pictures, if you ever had heard of them. I did production design for them, and my name was on the back of the box in in every actually Hollywood video store back in the year 2000. I was a production designer. It's a John Birmingham production designer. Not that huge of a thing, but it was kind of cool that I did on my own and have had other abilities that other people may have been the lead star. You know, Dorothy and Wizard of Oz was in a huge budget movie when she was only a child. But does she know how to do screenwriting? No. Or if she did, she may have learned it later. And she doesn't know how to do edit. She didn't know how to do editing as well as I do. And so there's some abilities that people have that are better than others. So how can you say that she's any more successful than I am when I know how to make the entire movie with a camera and editing system can do all the work to make an entire movie? And Judy Garland couldn't do that. She likes to act in movies, and she got to be a huge, well, the biggest star on earth, maybe the most famous, desirable female to have ever lived in our time, besides biblical people like maybe the Virgin Mother Mary or somebody like that. I don't know, and probably her, but I don't know. And and uh, and so depending on how you look at your resume, you could say that you know how to do things better than the most successful people on earth. You can maybe say you're more successful than they are. Yeah. They say mean things to me. Uh, so this is me trying to talk about how huge my resume is. Okay, and all this other stuff that I did, but it might be wrong to talk about it. I did 3 movies that I was a lead actor in, and I hired famous people to be in them. Not all of them, well, some of them were kind of famous, and all kinds of stuff. I could put this on my resume, but I'm not even going to talk about it. So it just feels wrong. It feels wrong to other people to act like I'm the best one of everyone on earth. But if I was supposed to, I could write it down in a resume and maybe I'll be super rich. But I don't know if I'm a wealthy elite well, I know I'm a wealthy elite now, but I don't know if I was a wealthy elite moments ago or if it was just a few weeks ago when God let me know I was a wealthy elite. And that means I could have inherited the kingdom of heaven already from my God's work, from repenting and doing God's work so much. And maybe I'm guaranteed a place in the kingdom of heaven, or I'm already written into the book. And maybe that's all that being a wealthy elite means. Or it means I have wealth on earth. So I hope it's in the kingdom of heaven. And I'd rather have that than stuff on earth. But as long as we're on earth, I hope to be alive and well, and everything's okay on earth. It's a beautiful day out. I walked down and got my mail. I jogged and walked and ran. I'm downstairs because it's so hot upstairs, and I didn't want to put the air conditioning on because it'll save money if I just walk down here. So after I got back upstairs from walking and jogging and running down the hill and back up with my mail, I only had to go to the neighbor's house who's like, it was about a mile walking jog down and back down to his house and back up. And when I went upstairs, it was really hot upstairs. And instead of turning the air conditioning on, I did what my dad said and just go downstairs in the house, and it's cool down here. So I don't have to turn the air conditioning on. Do what my dad says. No, no. And so I actually am really successful. So this is what I can talk about, how successful I really am. So I not only got a scholarship to attend the best film schools, one of the best film school on earth, or two of the best film schools, but I did more than that. I don't want to show myself. I don't look that great right now. I don't know why. I'm going to show either outside or nothing. I don't know. So from my own hard work for God, since I was like 12 years old, sometimes constant unrest, it was so much God's work. God let me have more money than most people I knew. So And the people who I know in my life who are the most successful, there's I could name I could actually say their names, but I'm not going to because I'm more successful than all of them. Besides my mom and dad with money, and Danica's mom and dad with money, but they have more money than I than me and Danica do. But if you work at your resume, trying to make it look as good as you can on paper, you can try to make it look like you did these huge ass cool things that other people didn't do, but don't curse. You know, the way a resume is written, you have to study how to write a resume, and you know, has to be limited to about a page. I think usually you don't want 100-page resume, even though I could literally write all the cool things I did for 100 pages on a resume, but that is generally not really a normal way to write a resume. So it's like your abilities and stuff that you're good at that sometimes you can't even put on a resume. Hmm. Yeah, we save money in our family. So but like Danica's mom and dad, who I'm married to, Danica, they didn't really save money as much as we did. They spent like people who had hundreds of millions of dollars who were really wealthy, and they got maids, and they may have paid them $30,000 a year. They'd have maids at their house every day, and they cleaned up for them all growing up. So when Danica was on her own in California, her place got really messy. She didn't know how to clean the place, and it had hundreds of water bottles everywhere that she drank out of, threw on the ground. And she let the chinchilla run free in her house. She didn't have a house, she had a little studio apartment. Danica, when she lived in California, she had a little studio apartment. And um and I moved in with her, and it was the most fun. And it was beautiful and sunny out back then. It was in Playa del Rey, and it was really amazing. It was one of my favorite times on earth, being with her in California. Everything was okay, but I'd like the kids to be there. I like to go back to then, but to know the kids would be okay. To know the kids would be okay, and I miss the baby, and miss Ayla, and miss the kids. But to go back to then would be just, I don't know, amazing. I'd do it now. And then, like, if I felt like looking or feeling younger, I could just wear a costume, or like put makeup on or something, or act like a child of God. No matter how old I am, you can act like a child of God or be a child of God. You're a child of God no matter how old you are. So you can feel like a child even when you're 72, if you live to be 72 or something. If you live to be that long, unless you only live to be 70 years old, but we don't know how long we're gonna live. And so you may only be, the no bowling zone guy may only be 18 years old. I don't know how old he is. I don't know. And I'm trying to show outside. Beautiful sunny day. I don't feel like showing me or showing anything. I'm just gonna talk. Oh, this is where no, the demonic people, the devil people talk that way, but I don't. But film and video is an art form, and you can show a blank screen and have the most brilliant music ever, and it's still better than just the medium of playing music. Well, I don't know. That's not, you can't really say one form of art is better than another. Okay. But I think film is the best for me. I chose it because you can show a work of art in it, and you can play music in it that you recorded and you played, and you call the music for it, and you can make the art for it, and you can do funny comedy acting, and you can sing in it, and you can show almost anything on screen. So I don't know what to show right now. But here's the thing, like, try to just imagine you're with God and at peace on earth, and everything's okay. You don't have to work at anything. and everything. You don't and you don't have to do anything. And and then if you've prayed for success in your life, anything that you've prayed for, God says after you pray for it, you can imagine that it's real and it's already happened. Well, you've already accepted it and it'll really happen in real life. But the things you actually want. I didn't pray for anyone to go up my ass, but right now somebody tried to make me feel like they're doing something to my own ass. Maybe I'm selfish or something. That's what they're saying, but I got an anxiety about that. And I don't understand. It doesn't make any sense. But the things you pray for, it's okay to imagine it's real. But when I was younger, I abused the secret. I before I had God and Jesus, I had God and Jesus a little. I kind of had God and Jesus the whole time, but I didn't know. And but I don't give a fuck about if my dad or mom think they have more money than I do. I worked hard my whole fucking life, and as long as I'm physically able, I'll probably have enough money. But only God knows that. If they're trying to make me feel like a little person with anxiety or something right now, doing shit to my ass and making me feel like they have so much money, I don't really give a shit. I've had to work harder than they ever had to work by the time they were my age. I had to work harder than they ever had to work by the time they were my age. So sometimes it's okay to actually not work. And I learned that by getting away from my mom and dad. I learned that by meeting Al Bob, who does nothing, do nothing. I love my mom and dad. They gave me a work ethic so I won't end up poor like Al Bob, who's homeless pretty much besides a crappy he lied and put his name so the debt collectors can't steal it from him. I don't know. I don't know. They'd steal. I don't know I don't know what his financial situation is other than he lives on like 800 a month or like $12,000 a year. So he's like almost homeless, but he made sure to keep a house, but he put it in a lawyer's name so it looks like it's not really in his name, and he gets to stay there for free, but he really owns it, and he tries to pretend so that the debt his debt collectors don't take it. Because I don't know why he has debt, but he was ready for that lifestyle. He ate out of the trash sometimes. He had always been that way. He had always kind of been that way. I I'd rather tell the truth about how he be truthful. He literally had. Okay, have you ever seen the movie Look Who's Talking with John Travolta? John Travolta played this guy where Kirstie Alley had a dream about him. He was a cab driver, like as if he didn't make enough money. And she had this nightmare about him. And he goes, "What? It's a perfectly good head of lettuce. It's from the trash. So what? Just take off the outside. Just brush it off a little bit. It's perfectly good, right from the trash. Come on." And she didn't. She thought he didn't have enough money, and it was like an awful dream she had that he didn't have much money or something like that. And they got that idea from Al. I'm almost 100% sure. I don't know. I don't know, but because when he was in New York, he owned a restaurant, and I think he really just had like some kind of kiosk or in some abandoned building. He set something up to where he didn't set it up. It was a good restaurant, and he served food and he did God's work, and he made a really good food. But sometimes he got all kinds of food out of the trash, and he was out there in plain day in New York City serving famous people. He knew many of the famous artists. He was one of the famous artists in the East Side or Greenwich Village or places like that in New York. He was one of the famous artists. He was kind of famous in the art community. And this guy who did a documentary on 1980s famous artists, he had heard all about Al from these different people who he interviewed for his documentary on 1980s the art scene in New York City. And Al knew like almost all of them. And he even heard of he knew he saw John Belushi often, John Lennon, all these famous people. And but in reality, he would get food out of the trash that people would throw away, like a bunch of the food that was kind of old, and he thought there's nothing wrong with it. And that's what he got. That's how he made the food for his restaurant that he had in New York. And some of it was maybe vegan or it had meat in it or I don't know what. And it was like supposed to be kind of cool that he made, he's not really a vegan, he eats meat. But he tries to put meat into everything, but he calls it vegan anyway. Like if I had met him when I was younger, I couldn't have eaten his beautiful, really good food that he used to make. But sometimes he gets lazy. He goes through phases. He he doesn't realize that he's not always the same. Sometimes he made really, really beautiful, good food that looked good and tasted really good. And then other times it just tasted like garbage. Like he got in the mood of saving and he reused the same food for a few days and it was just awful. It tasted like mush or something. And it was really bad and it was gross. And other times it was in some of our videos, it was the best food I had ever eaten on earth that he made. And it's in some of the videos, you can see his food. But so he had a restaurant in New York and he'd get food out of the garbage. And also, he would live in abandoned old tenement buildings, and somehow they'd burn fire in a trash can or something to keep warm in the old tenement buildings. And they weren't really allowed to be there, but the police kind of said, okay, it's okay. They get to stay there. And he'd rig up the electricity somehow in the old buildings. No, and they'd try to renovate it and they'd put on like clubs and stuff. But I mean, it was New York City. The rules were a little different, and the cops said it was okay. But I would never do anything like that nowadays. It was like a different time, and I don't want to say it was wrong or bad, but he did stuff like that. That what it wasn't that it was illegal. He wasn't one of those people who did illegal things, but he like lived in an old tenement building where he had to like burn fire in trash cans or giant old fireplaces to try to keep warm, and like he didn't even pay rent, and it was almost like he was homeless. And he lived in places like that. He got the food out of the garbage. And then eventually he just started saying he was homeless, and he doesn't work very hard. He didn't work like really hard. He didn't like to feel at unrest all the time. Like he gave up his earthly goals. He's a really good person. He's a really good person. He gave up his earthly goals to not get angry or something or not get sick and die working so hard like his wife got sick and died. His wife was really successful at I don't know, kind of successful, not like money or something like that, but just like he tries to say she was the best of everything, but he's afraid to talk about her. And they got to be together, and then she died. He's afraid to talk about her. He doesn't want anyone to say anything mean about her. But even 30 years or 20 years after she died, tears would involuntarily come down his eyes, the side of his eye, when he was looking out the window. He didn't mean to, but he was crying because I knew he was thinking about his second wife. And he tries to not talk about her because his father was a bird colonel and he was like a real jerk to him. And like Al got really fat when Al was taking care of him. So like his dad could feel like, hey, I'm still skinny. Hey, at least even though I'm old, I'm skinny. What's the matter with you? Are you fat? Or something like that. And so and so then he was yeah, so his dad, like, he gave up when his wife died, and he said he was going to eat himself to death and just get really, really fat and blow up like the guy in Monty Python who ate that one cracker that he had to eat one last cracker and he blew up. And Al thought he would do that, Mr. Creosote. And it was awful. And women thought he was disgusting. And it hurt him inside. It made him feel bad that they didn't like the way he looked. And he felt so bad about being alive, and he got really heavy. And then he was at this house when he was at his fattest. He was at this house when he was really fat. And he was upstairs and there was no working heat, and he ran out of money because he spent like $100,000 on random stuff from like he'd walk into Target really big and he'd be like really heavy and really big. And he'd go, I'll buy that. I'll buy this. And that's a good deal. Hey, look at me. New England clam chowder. I'll go in this restaurant. Yeah, I remember we were on the boats and clam chowder. And he tried to tell stories like he was a great fisherman. And he'd walk in, he was really big. Oh, look how big I am. Boy, I got the whole table. Hey, I'll pay for this, I'll pay for that. And he and then but he was and he pretends that women liked him anyway, but he was so sad inside. I could see it made him feel so bad. They thought he was disgusting. And his eyes got really big because he was like so fat and he had diabetes and it was scary. And when he was at this house in the wintertime, he couldn't afford the heat and he had to live in a tent upstairs with a mattress on the ground. And he lived like like an animal or something. And he was so heavy and he had to go to the emergency room. He was like 400 pounds. He was 400 pounds. And I have a picture. It looks like he was a raccoon person. All the stuff he slopped on the wall out of his mouth. He was sleeping on a. I was so afraid there was like a raccoon human hybrid, but I think it was just him. And he had these weird habits. He like throw things out of his mouth on the walls and didn't care what happened. And I had to clean up the entire house and renovate it. And that's how I paid my bills, is I got it in really good condition. I had to work really hard on the house a bunch and like here and there for 7 years or something like, or whatever it was. And so he just like totally neglected the place. And it's a miracle because I got the house for really cheap and I got to work on it and pay my bills by working on the house. And then so he was really heavy, but he was sad inside. I'd see like a tear come down his eye. I'd see like a tear come down this side of his eye. He was like looking somewhere else and thinking about something. He was like looking at something and his a tear would come down, but it was like he was really sad inside and he tried to hide it. It's because he missed his second wife. He missed his second wife and he didn't like to talk about her because his dad was like mean. And one time his dad said some really mean jerk thing about his wife. It was really mean. And he let me know. I'm trying to think of what it was. His dad was really mean. So after that, he tried to protect his wife with everyone, even though no one would say anything mean about her. And I would really not say anything mean about her, his wife, because I love Danica. And I realized I know how much he loves her. And so instead he'd try to, because he thought somebody would, he thought somebody would be mean about his wife. So he'd talk about his first wife instead, Donna. He'd say, oh, Donna, yeah. And he'd talk about her a bunch because he was really sad. He loved his second wife. And he would involuntarily, tears would come down his eyes thinking about her. And he'd look out the window. He'd look out the window in the kitchen. He'd look out the window in the kitchen after he made food and stuff. But he was skinny. He got skinny again. He's like down to like 200 pounds or 198. Now he's skinny. And he'd look out this window and a tear would start coming down the side of his eye. And I knew it was because he missed his second wife because she died. They were together for 8 years and then she died. He really liked this other chair and I found it. It would roll and he'd cook and make food, and it's in our old videos. And he liked the chair that rolled, but then I didn't want it to mess up the art because this is like supposed to be Danica's face and the baby's face too. It looks kind of like the baby and Danica. I didn't want him to like roll the little wheels on it, but now I found cool big wheels to go on it. So I found a special chair that he liked to roll on in the kitchen when he was cooking food. So if he comes back, I have the chair, and this is the actual chair. This is the actual chair. And I found these cool wheels I got on Amazon.com. They're big wheels, so it doesn't damage the floor. And I put on those big wheels. So instead of having the regular rolly chairs that could like, I was afraid it would damage the floor. So now this is his special chair that he likes. I don't know if he'll keep this on it or not. But that's a special chair, so I can put it in the kitchen for when he gets here, if he comes back. And this room is supposed to be for my son, but I don't know if he's going to live here or not. I tried to get my son to live here because I love Danica and the kids more than I love Al. But Al was the only person closest to me in real life for the person physically closest to me. But in real life, I love Danica. I love Danica and the kids for people. And then my other family, and Al is not as close as family. But for some reason, God had to be physically close to Al or by myself, and it just sucked. And so that's why Al had to leave. He wasn't like that good of a friend that he could have just kept staying the whole time. Hey, this is pretty cool. I look pretty good here. Well, I thought I looked good. I don't know. Is that guy home? Looks like he's not home. I'd like to go to that guy's house. Whoa, I felt really fat. I was afraid to show my body. But now I don't look fat. I just ran and jogged down the hill. Now I don't look fat. I don't know. Yo. I don't know. It's a miracle I didn't look too fat or something. I don't know. Maybe I'm outside. And so the thing with Al, he like always kind of like ate out of the trash a little and lived in old abandoned buildings in New York sometimes. And then he'd live in big apartments to himself. And sometimes he had like one time he had $400,000 worth of real estate. And this was 10 years ago. So today it might be like 800,000. And he was kind of rich. And that's when he spent a bunch of money at restaurants and got really big and fat and bought tons of random stuff. Like he'd walk in. He'd do this. He'd like Target or one of those places. I can't even do it. I'm not going to do it. But he would walk in and he'd like walk in like, hey, how you doing? I'll get this thing right here. Yep, mister. I like talking to him. And he would talk to all these different people and go, yeah, I'll buy that one. Hey, it's on sale. Hey, they got a solar, I'll show you where this stuff is. He has some of it, we stored most of it in this building down here. There's like a solar thing that would solar power a house that was supposed to be $400, and he got it on sale for like, shit, a moth, dude. The moth jumped on my back, and he'd get it on sale for like $98 and go, I'll take that. I'll get that one. And yeah, just on sale. Hey, I'm get all these plates. And then and he'd get all these things from like places like Walmart or Kmart. And he must have spent $100,000 on random stuff. And some of it's new. And he put it in all these bins. And when I bought the house, he went through every little thing for like 2 months or something, or a few weeks. And I think 2 months. And we put it all in these bags and bins. Whoa, there's some animal in there, a bird. I saw it. I captured it on video. It was behind there. It was like behind there. If you look back in the video a little bit, it's like a bird or an animal. I saw it in there. And it's just some bird or something, I think. And so this is a huge, giant storage building. It's pretty cool. And I was going to put a green screen in here one day, but he has all his cool stuff, his stuff that he like put in these bags, like CVS. Like CVS. Hey, I'll buy a bunch of stuff. I'll buy $300 worth of stuff. Hey, I got some candy, different things, Halloween decorations. And he spent like $100,000, and he saved most of it. But it's sad because his wife passed away, and he got this house, and he's from a really good family. He's from a really good family, but I live in the house now. But he's from a really good family, and his dad, even though he was a bird colonel, his dad was an artist.
he's different from like somebody like my dad, who's a colonel or lieutenant colonel. My dad's a lieutenant colonel, or was, and Al's dad was a colonel, and then he quit and did real estate, but he didn't make as much money as my dad did, and my dad and mom. But he made a bunch of money. I think he had $2 million back then. And who cares about the money, you know? And then Al, I think they had no money by the time they died. They like retired the last 28 years of their life. They didn't work, and they kind of did real estate. And they helped Al have all this real estate. He had like 10 buildings, and it was like worth $400,000 or something. And then he owned this home. And he did these huge things out. He did really cool things on Earth. He wasn't like a homeless person or something like that. But to save money, he didn't care if he had to be that way. And he's not homeless now. He lives in a shack that he owns, I think, or a lawyer owns, or a house. I think he owns a house. I literally think he owns a good house in the woods, and he lives on $12,000 a year, which is okay for a single person that he doesn't have to work. I haven't mowed the lawn. It's getting pretty big. If I mowed all that, but it's so far out in the woods. It's so far out in the woods, you don't really have to mow it. I put that owl to scare away the woodpecker. To scare away the woodpecker, put that owl there. And then last night or 2 nights ago, I went out on the porch and I got the feeling some huge bird was going to come down at my head, and all the birds, it was like really quiet, and I didn't hear any anything, and it was like unusually quiet because this thing scared them all away. It was supposed to just scare the woodpecker, and it scared some of the other birds, but they're here now. I heard them now. I don't know. Yeah, heard, right? And then no. So I think one of the huge owls was coming here to see what it was, to see what those little silver owls were that scared away some of the birds. I put up to scare away the woodpecker. Disgusting. And so then when I went up on that balcony, I thought a huge owl was about to swoop down. I got the feeling it was really real. It was like nearby, because there are these huge owls who live in the neighborhood. And that's why Al is called Owl Bob. Owl, because when he came to this neighborhood, there used to be snakes. And Al was like a big, powerful man. He had a bunch of money and he could do things on Earth. He had this like huge powers to do things on Earth, or power, and that God gave him. And he called out, and he can still kind of do it now, like with the weather or something like that. And he called out to an owl, and he asked the owl to come into the neighborhood and kill all the poisonous snakes, because they're poisonous snakes. And owls moved into this neighborhood, these huge owls. They're like this tall. I saw one that like 3 feet tall or 4 feet tall when they stand. I think there was one on there one time, like a few years ago. And they live in the woods. They have owls. Sometimes they hear, some hear them up there, and so the other night, I think they were coming here to see what that weird thing was that I put out there to like frighten the woodpecker, because they wanted to see what that thing was that the birds are afraid of, and they're angry at me, and so I had to stay inside. But they're good. They're good owls. They wouldn't really harm them. And one time, Owl Bob said he was driving up the hill, and an owl swooped in front of it. Swooped in front of his windshield with a huge wingspan, and I saw this weird blue crane literally right there, a pastel vivid blue crane. I've talked about it in videos before, and it didn't film it in a live video, and it swooped up through those trees with a 7-foot wingspan. I had never seen or heard of a bird like that, a vivid pastel blue, like kind of washed out but vivid pastel blue. And it was maybe 3 or 4 feet, well, not 4 feet, well, maybe 3 or 4, yeah, 3 or 4 feet tall too. And he was standing right there. I couldn't believe I saw it right in my backyard. And Al thinks that there is a black panther who lives up there on the mountain. And he said he saw him one time, but I think he's just doing it to scare me. And I don't think there are any panthers around here because they're extinct. They're extinct in these places in the United States. So there aren't any black panthers. I'm not afraid of them. And if there are, they stay out of the shadows. It'd be so cool to see one, and they don't hurt anyone. And they're about as scary as like a pit bull or something. So who cares? It's not like as scary, you know. I don't know. And so Al Bob is really cool. He's really good. He's in a bunch of my videos. There's some kind of moth that flew on across my back when I opened the door. I don't know. I don't know where he is, or and it's boring in here. It looks like it's like dark, but the iPhone made it look brighter. I don't know. I don't know what to do. Because God helps me with what to do. I know what to do with Danica and the kids. Live for God and Jesus. I know what to do now. Live for God and Jesus. I went outside because I don't know. Because I don't know, but you can act like you're the biggest one on earth or whatever, and anyone can kind of start working at doing those things, but it may be wrong, and God may have a different plan for you. Who is that? Am I crazy? See if this guy's home. He's a nice person. I thought he put a bad smell into my house right then, and that's why I left. That's why I walked outside. And I must be crazy or something to think that somebody would put a bad smell into the house. I think God had me go outside on this beautiful day instead of stay inside the house. So I must have been crazy. Yeah, he's not even home, that guy down there. His car's not in the driveway, I think. I don't know. I'd like to go to his house. Oh, somebody's on the road. Somebody's on the road. I can hear him. Listen. I hear somebody on the road. This is awesome. Look at these flowers. Flowers. Hello? Hello? Oh, that's the neighbor. That's him. He drove home. I'm going to get away from him, pretend that I don't know that he parks there, and that's how I know he's home or not. Unless I film him. See if I can film him driving and pulling into his driveway. He might be afraid of me, like think I'm some like, I don't know. He's not afraid of me. He's nice. Where is he? Now he's driving maybe on his driveway and it didn't make a sound in the gravel anymore. Maybe he stopped and took a I don't know, stick off the road and threw it to the side. Pambolo Kikano. No. Pambolo Kikano. Where is he? Where is he? Maybe somebody else. Maybe he was somebody else. Hey, the sun. The sun. Yay. This is not what I do all day. I worked so hard last year. It was like really, I was like, I drank so much caffeine. No, I didn't drink alcohol. I had to sometimes drink alcohol to calm down from the 30 cups of coffee that I was drinking, almost like it was on amphetamines on so much caffeine, to work hard at constant unrest, every moment doing stuff, eating so much food to deal with the stress of doing real estate values, studying real estate values, trying to get my household and all this stuff. It was so much work last year that the police did a mental wellness check on me and put me in a hospital for 3.5 weeks when it was all done. And I didn't even get to sell my house, and I had to stay here anyway. And my dad, it got put in my dad's name, and I was like, I don't even know if I have a net worth anymore. And God had a different plan for me or something. I was trying to sell my house to go to California and be really famous so I could pay my bills and make plenty of money at my films and videos, because it wasn't making enough from here. And I was sad and alone. And I thought I'd get Danica and the kids and we'd be a big family in Los Angeles and get really famous and have all kinds of good family and friends. And it would be like our new place where we'd start to have all our family and friends in Los Angeles. And I thought it would be like future generations of really famous and good stuff and all the stuff we like to do. And so I tried to sell this whole house and tried to go to Los Angeles. And then the LAPD got pissed at me and they hurt my body and told me to go home. It was weird. I don't know why. I was just filming videos on the streets. I literally filmed all of it, and I went to one of the best film schools on earth, and I know film law and I know film production, but it wasn't the LAPD's fault. It's just because God had a better plan than my stupid, selfish plan of trying to go to Los Angeles and be the most famous one and get my family back, and we get to work at things that we like to do. And I thought it was a good plan, but God shot it down, and it wasn't the LAPD's fault. And then they made me so it frightened the crap out of me, and I went home. But I got about ready to go back to Los Angeles now. If I can go again, I don't know. And so instead, God had a plan for me to stay here. And I thought I had $540,000 net worth, like with my house and the value of my house. And I worked so hard last year, and my mom and dad made huge amounts of money for it. And then they just like got it in their name for hardly any money, and the whole thing sucked. And now I had to be back here anyway, and I don't even know what money I have or not, but like I could say that I have money. Like I might have, I don't know. So God had a better plan for me. So I don't know why, but I may be a millionaire. I don't know. I'd rather not think about it. So my selfish plan got changed, and for some reason God had me come back here, but God's let me know that maybe I'm supposed to go back to Los Angeles. So I don't know. Wonder whose car that was. Mean ass person or something who drove up trying to do some mean ass thing. I don't even know whose car that was. I wonder who it is. I'm gonna try to walk down there, but I have to pee. I've had to pee this whole time. Maybe I'm too selfish. I was acting like it was like big and mean. I'm doing mean things when I talked. I wonder who else is here. Maybe I was too selfish. Just tell me to be kind to others. Why was my family taken away from me so that I couldn't be there to help them be their best? So I believed in them, and they got so famous and everything. I was helping them and believing in them, kindness to others. And when I was there for them, everything was okay. So why would I go around random other people? You know, he doesn't want to do film or video. People don't want to do the things that I like to do. So how's it going to help them to be kind to others how they would be to me? He likes to be an electrician, that guy next door. Maybe he'll be, okay. So the way I can be kind to him is by helping him to he likes to work on cars, be an electrician. Maybe I can believe in him and somehow he can make a bunch of money at stuff, but then that's just an earthly value. That's an earthly value that I'm helping them with. How can I help them in other ways if I'm too, I don't know, if I'm too selfish? What did I do wrong? Oh, the videos about how successful you are. Somebody's determined on that, like my mom or something. It's like, what do you want, Mom? Hello? Mom, what do you want? What did I do wrong? It's not her fault. Why does it feel like quiet and bad or something? Why is it like quiet and bad? Because somebody didn't want to see me looking good in a video because I actually filmed myself looking good. And right now I feel fat as shit, but I can't show it on camera. I don't show myself always looking bad. What did I do wrong? I don't get it. Oh, I said that the LAPD hurt my wrists and made them feel numb for 4 weeks. Is that what the problem was? I told the truth about what they did to me. It's not their fault. Somebody lied to him who watches my videos. This stalker lied to him. I said I was a bad guy. They're used to dealing with bad guys. They didn't know I was just some guy, and they threw me out in the street just to walk home. And I was like, a miracle they didn't take me away or something or do who knows what. And that it was a different kind of town than I was used to. So I might go back there. I don't know. Because I understand kind of why they did it is because in Hollywood, I don't know. I better just be quiet. There are people jealous of me watching her trying to attack and be mean to me, probably. Probably mean people hiding in the shadows doing their satanic weird shit with their own asshole, fiddling around with their own asshole, mixing the feces in to do a ritual to try to... I don't know. I'm just going to go inside. I can't figure out why that was like supposed to be bad. Like mix in different things and try to like conjure Oh, that was the problem. They thought I got a social life and went out in the sun to enjoy myself. They were pissed. Better go back inside. What the heck? They want me to suffer indoors? Like I'm in a fucking prison for 7 years now? My life sucks. And if I go out there in the hot sun, they try to make it feel like I was a big, mean, bad person for being in the sun and showing myself with the sun on my face, feeling good. They wanted to punish me by putting me back in here like it's a really bad place, feeling by myself now. I've been by myself since 2015. It sucks. When I went out there in the sun, they wanted to punish me because they want the social lives out in the sun and they want me to feel bad indoors because they're old as shit. And they look young and they're healthy and they get to feel good and I'm supposed to feel bad because I looked at porn of really young men. And so as punishment, I had to have my peers be old people. So I stuck with all these old people. Al, 72. My dad's 78. He just turned 78. And he's pretty athletic, kind of, for a 78-year-old. And I'm trying to be nice to him. I've had to stand up for him. And it's like never old enough feeling for him. And God did that. He put all these old people in my life. The only one who was easy to have in my life and was like a young person was Michigan. And sometimes, and I got pissed because I don't know what it is. I don't know what the problem is. They want to punish me and have me staying in here. I'm literally pacing back and forth. They want to keep me like in my house. And they wanted to like punish me if I tried to do any cool big things because he's angry. He's angry because he thinks that I was the most successful person on earth. And he wants to like always try to prove he has more money than I do. Or he thinks I'm going after his wife. The most disgusting, repulsive thing ever to ever think about my mother in that way. I'd rather actually be dead than to have sex with my own mother. I'm not a piece of shit. You think I'm crazy as shit, Dad? And he worked me up into this anger, this big anger at goals so he could have a bunch of money in real estate. And then he sent the police after me and tried to take my house for hardly any money. so he can make $3 million in 1 year. And then after he kept punishing me and kept punishing me with when I had these huge goals and good things that I was working at, he tried to take all the earthly things from it and leave me with hardly anything. And sent the police after me to do it to me and put me in hospitals and shit so he can make $10 million in 1 year. It was actually more than 3 million. It ended up going up to like he might have $40 million or something, so he could like make it, but it's not his fault. It's not his fault. God did it for some reason. And he's like jealous because he doesn't like young people because he thinks that he has to suffer because he has an old body. He has an old body. I'm probably have to take this video down. It feels like shit having to talk to these old people. It's like never old enough or fat enough looking for them, and they want me to look and feel like shit. And I haven't gotten to feel good like I used to. But it's the best of the earth compared to them because to what they have so little. They're old and about to die, or they may live 30 more years, and they're like, they feel so bad and can barely walk some days, and they feel like shit, and it's like never enough to support them with all my emotion and love. And they don't want me to have a bunch of money. They don't want me to be on my own, and they want me to stay in here like a fucking prison. It's torture. And they don't want me to have a social life. It's just a tormented life. For like 7 years I've been all alone in here like Cinderella. I used to have to sweep up the house, and I was kept in here like Cinderella. They had the best social lives of anyone, all of them living it up. Even Danica, I don't want to say anything bad about her. She didn't do anything bad to me. And they kept me hidden away, trying to make me get older. It's like never fat enough for them looking for me. They want me to be fat, old, look like shit. And it's like, it's still, they're 30 years older than me. And it's like they don't get it. And they think I'm some random young person who they saw on TV, like a random it or something. They treat me like an it who's like not even a person, some person who is the bad guy on TV who they saw like some big Marvel guy who has no problems and still trying to act better than others. And they think I like Marvel and all their mainstream bullshit ass good things. That Marvel's good anyway, but it's just not my kind of thing to like not write my own original material. And Marvel's okay. I'd love to be for God and Jesus. I love God and Jesus. If God wants me to play one of those Marvel things, I don't know. I'm not against it, but like, Dad, I'm not one of those people you see on TV who's a random young person who made you feel bad for being old. I'm not one of those its or something and he's not always like that. It's not his fault. And he's going to be pissed. The other day they came in here in my personal space. It was okay. They're pretty good. They're okay. It's like how much money their stupid selves have. They don't even give a fuck about me. I don't know. And anytime I mention how bad my life is and how much money they have instead, and they don't care about me, all they hear is how much money they have. And they think it's the best thing ever. They feel better about it while trying to make me feel worse. They don't care what problems I had. I suffered the whole time, hoping to die 20,000 times while they tried to take my money. But I don't know. They may have put me in a will for $10 million. I may have $10 million in a will already. Because God let me know I'm a wealthy elite. So I don't know what the fuck that means. I may have inherited the kingdom of heaven for suffering alone with no social life. This was my social life, dressing up as Michael Jackson, making a video now that I even got a little angry in, which is not the most entertaining. But like, this was my social life as a joke, Michael Jackson, because my friends tried to one of them was a mean ass, really mean person and try to make fun of me and say I was like Michael Jackson as a joke. So I just dressed as Michael Jackson, was kind and good about it, and said, who cares? It's a joke. I don't have any insecurities about it. I know I look like a real person. I'm not Michael Jackson. So I did it as a joke, and it was funny and good. Who knows what they thought, They would make fun of one another for all these stupid things. One of them, they said, had a cat head. He looked like a superhero from a video game. He looked like a human being couldn't look any better. He was like really tall and a super athlete, and his head was a little small, and he had a really good looking face that looked like a child. He was like, and they made fun of his head. But there's somebody here who attacks everyone I know. I think it's that guy next door. He hates me and everyone about me anytime I mention money. I don't know if it's him or not, but I think he's poor. They always put a poor person in this house right next to mine. They always put a poor person right there to try to make it feel like it wasn't poor enough or something. But he's not poor because Al said that he makes $20 or $30 an hour, which was supposed to be big money or something. So I don't even know. And it's like I feel like he's like almost like satanic and tries to like attack me and kill me with all his heart and take the good from me or some weird ass shit that he believes in, because he's obviously, I don't know if he even believes in God and Jesus. It's like feels like he wants to hurt everyone I know and doesn't give a shit about me. I don't even want him there. I want to buy the house from him and I want to buy all the houses in this neighborhood, because I don't want that guy down there. I don't want to have to think about wherever he is. And I don't want that guy there. I'm going to buy his house from Jeff Maiden, the guy who owns it, who runs the iPhone store. If I live long enough, and I will keep living because I'm really fucking healthy. So I'm going to buy that guy's house one day. I'm going to pay Jeff Maiden some money for it, and that'll be mine. I'm going to buy that house down there too. I'm going to buy this house. And if I don't, I'm going to be the most famous person on earth, motherfuckers. So you can fuck yourself if you think that I'm a little piece of shit who's supposed to stay in here pacing back and forth while they live it up. And they want to punish me for going outside. Went to LA and my dad tried to like trick him and send, I don't know. It's not my dad's fault. I'm so pissed off at this shit. And somebody tries to put a smell of shit into here. I've had to smell shit try to shove down in my throat and my mouth for 7 years. It's gone into my mouth, like, and into, not just into my nose, into my mouth. And then I got the COVID-19 shot, and some motherfucker was politically against it in my life. So they tried to make it like they tried to make it like the Pfizer one that I really believed in and thought was the best one. They tried to make it like that it was bad. It would hurt my health for having power, money, or political shit. And so they hurt my throat, and I got sick 100 times, again and again, both winters, from the effects of the Pfizer vaccine. I didn't know if I was dying of cancer, and they kept me in this cold house all the way, because it would have been $1,500 or $1,400 a month, because it's a huge house. And I got sick 100 times, like a person living in poverty, like Dolly Parton, who lived in poverty before she got famous, and like Gigi Allen and Merle Allen, before they got famous, they had to live in an old shack, and they got sick so many times because they didn't have good heat. But I have plenty of heat, and it was from a COVID-19 vaccine. It was the effects of the COVID-19 vaccine. It was from the effects of the COVID-19 vaccine, and it made me sick 100 times. And this winter, I wasn't sick at all. I was all better. I got all better this winter. I didn't get sick once. It was to my throat. It kept attacking my throat. I thought, am I going to die of cancer? It happened 100 times. I get sick because it was like, if just the slightest thing went wrong, I had to wear a scarf all the time in my videos, if you watch. And so I had to get sick 100 times. It felt like shit from the Pfizer vaccine. From the Pfizer vaccine. It felt like crap. 100 times getting sick, both winters, 2 winters in a row, the previous winters before this one. And this winter, I didn't get sick at all. I went to LA when it was cold as shit, and it was really warm. I had no idea what it was going to be like. And it was like this amazing celebration. And I was also writing to agents, and I was getting active. Now I look like shit or something. I don't look as good. I gained 40 pounds or 20 pounds or something from stress because the LAPD hurt my hands. It's not their fault. It's just that, like, historically, you weren't supposed to film out in the streets unless you have a permit, because it's the huge movie industry. They get permits and they do it the regular way. And I was always afraid to film on the streets in Los Angeles unless, like, here and there, you have to get a permit and do it the proper ways and have a budget for a film. You film in Los Angeles, and they were like really. They didn't like it. They didn't like random people filming without a permit and crap like that. But now it's different because it's YouTube. It's YouTube, and I thought everyone was filming on videos and it was okay. So I filmed tons of videos out in Hollywood, and then they still got a little bit pissed. I filmed 100 videos, and I have them all on my channel. They said it was okay. They looked through my channel and all the videos for like an hour or two, and I cried out in pain. I thought they're gonna. I was really hurt. I was really hurt, and they hurt my wrists, and my hands were numb for 4 weeks after that. After what they did to me, it was awful. But they let me go. They didn't even put me in a jail. And of course, I didn't break any laws or do anything wrong. I never do anything wrong against the law. So they couldn't. The worst that they would have said was a mental wellness check and put you in some hospital and you get out. So I haven't done anything wrong or bad. I follow every law. My grandfather was the most powerful policeman on earth. That's why I'm thinking about going to New York. They wouldn't do shit to me just because my grandfather was the most powerful policeman. He was the chief of the NYPD. He had 20,000 to 30,000 uniformed men at his command. He had John F. Kennedy in his car. He was driven in by a private car to work every day. So they couldn't hurt me for no reason there, for just trying to get really big and be the #1 star on earth at my films and videos. It's not hurting anyone. It's just good work, trying to do my best work at films and videos and trying to make money at it. And still my YouTube channel has like, look at it, compare, like, why is it not doing better? But I've always stood up for YouTube. I've had Google since 1999 or 2000. 1999, Danica got me to use Google. And I've been on YouTube since a little after it started in 2006. But I've been using Google as my search engine since 99, I think, or 2099. And Danica used Google since earlier in the 90s. So we've always stood up for Google. For some reason, it just happened to work with us. So we do YouTube videos because Google owns YouTube, but Google owns YouTube. If you didn't know, that's true. And so if there's a kid watching or somebody like that, so there's no insider plan. Just when you like things, like get along with, like, say like there's some big famous person you think is kind of cool, like one of them that you're not all against or something. If you are against them or you're not. And then you might meet them one day. Like a really famous person. I don't know how famous I am. I still haven't gone A-list. That's why I'm on A-list, and then pay my bills the rest of my life. I'll have enough money and my films and videos that I won't have to work at some crap that I don't like. Because that sucked. It really sucked. Because can you imagine working 35 years at your films and videos, doing your best work, like real movies? I didn't just go out there and have a good fun time doing whatever I felt like. It was hard work, and it was good work. It was from God and Jesus. But I also had to work 20 years at my house. There's no buts about it. God and Jesus are everything. And everything you do, live for God and Jesus. And everything you do, live for God and Jesus. I may not always get to make films and videos, but I do things for God and Jesus. I shouldn't get angry. Because why when I was out there, it started acting really bad and they're mean about it. What did I do wrong? Oh, I know what I did wrong. The animals and the birds were pissed. It got really quiet. They thought I was mean and bad. I didn't understand what I did wrong. They're acting like I was mean and bad. I thought somebody was keep me in my house. I get it. You want me to take the stupid, scary owl down? They want me to take down the stupid, scary owl that the woodpecker away enough. And so they thought this owl was really big and scary. It's crazy. Is it scary? Oh shit, I looked like crap. So I have to take this down. Other birds got scared by him. Take him down, and it'll be happy. What is this? Corey's gonna joke at my physique and say, "Yo, are you going to Doritos and a cheeseburger and crap like that?" I don't know. I know. This is why the animals and all the animals and the deer and stuff were like angry at me, because I was always really nice to them, but they thought this mean owl that they're really afraid of. I'm bringing this owl inside. Cause look, these scary balls hanging down from it. They made this decoration to scare away birds. Look how big I am. I feel big. Fly. Get away from me, disgusting fly. Disgusting fly. Disgusting fly. I feel like Crispin Glover says that sometimes. Disgusting fly. Because he had to play. He had to play. This is the one they're afraid of. This is why it's all quiet out here. They didn't like it. They're afraid of that. I gotta get him. I gotta get off of there somehow. I thought my dad was angry, and what was wrong? I almost was blaming people. It's this decoration. It's to scare away the hackers who wouldn't have a house. Now I'd be scared of a few years. I put these out before, and it was time to take them down, and I forgot. This was to scare away the woodpeckers who wouldn't peck on the house. And I'm just going to take it down. I had to lean out there. And that's why it got quiet. They're afraid of it. Or I acted like big and mean too when I jogged, because I thought somebody tried to like give me cancer and destroy my bones and send it right to Danica or something. So I had to like jog out there, and I was like really athletic, even though I was been laying in a bed. Don't want to say what I've actually been working at with my medicine and eating less, and I quit all caffeine. And so when I went out there, because I thought somebody tried to like destroy my bones and say I was weak and old and send it and like with all his heart or something. And so then and it was because I was like afraid, and it was because I was afraid of his dog to jog. So then I had to go out there and jog anyway. And I jogged all the way down to that guy's house, got my mail, and walked back up. And I was like, oh, I get it. He sounds like super active. And I was afraid somebody's going to try to like intentionally attack all my body and health just because I didn't go out there and prove that I was able to walk down and get my own mail or something. And I don't know why, because I was afraid of his pit bull. And then I just went down there and got the mail anyway. And then they saw I was super athletic or whatever. He could see me through his window. And so I jogged out and ran. Was like, literally, this is how much I weigh. I was like this huge athlete, 245 pounds. I jogged all down here, like big jogging, because I didn't want them to like try to say I was weak as shit and really old. Like it felt like they tried to like incinerate my whole skeleton of body and do some weird ass shit to me because I kept laying in a bed. So I had to like prove, and it has something to do with like they did that shit to me before, the guy, and it has something to do with I don't know what. Like having to prove it to them I'm healthy or some stupid bullshit. It doesn't say it in the Bible, so I didn't understand why. And so then I think I just had to be kind to their dogs. I don't understand. That's another thing I don't get why. That was like, and so when I jogged, I acted like really big and mean and powerful. Not mean. I didn't act mean, but I acted big and powerful and like really trying to act like I was the strongest, super in shape one. So that's all I did. I wasn't mean about it at all. So I don't know what I did wrong. wonder if it's okay. Hey, it's nicer out here. Hey, look, he's not here anymore. Yay. They're afraid of that owl. The birds are afraid of that owl decoration not there anymore. And maybe the animals put two and two together with like that I went for a big strong jog down the whole thing or something. And maybe they're angry at me and they thought it was scary because of the owl that was there. And I was supposed to be nice to the dogs next door or something instead of being afraid of them. The dog next door and that dog next door, they both have dogs. Instead of being afraid to walk down to get my mail, I should have just made friends with the dogs better or something. And I did, but I didn't. I don't know. I don't know why it felt bad out here, and I started wondering why. No. Wish the person said that you wish your. I guess you're just supposed to get along with your neighbors, love thy neighbor or whatever. But that's for anyone. That's not your. That doesn't mean your next door neighbor always. Well, that means your next door neighbor too. But I've already lusted accidentally about my own wife. My own wife, but how could it be lust if I thought about being with my own wife? How is that bad? Then why did I have to feel awkward about that when I said love thy neighbor? I don't know. I better be quiet and just enjoy. It got really good and happy and good now. They don't want to hear my voice talking. They associate it with when I got angry about the that bird was nice. I heard him. He's nice. He's nice. Oh God. I better go inside. They thought, oh, if I'm really that big and athletic and powerful, like I'm going to go be the most super athlete on earth the way I jogged down there. Because I thought he was trying to incinerate my entire body or something and send my bones to my wife or something like that. So I was like, I got to be like really athletic. So I jogged all the way down there to get my mail because I was afraid of his pit bull or something. He has a pit bull. You know, it's a scary. But it's okay. He's not going to hurt me. I was supposed to just make friends with him, but I didn't know like how to. I don't know. But I've pet his dog before. It's a miracle. It was just so frightening when I had to be around him. It was like, is he going to attack? Because it's a pit bull, and I didn't know. But I was nice to him anyway. And I pet him somehow. I don't know how the fuck I pet him. It was so frightening. It was like a heightened. It was like a. It was like, can you let your guard down around him? Can you just let your guard down around him and be peaceful? Or are they going to maybe like be mean if you're not like kind of mean all the time? Like the Old Testament kind of mean ways, like Game of Thrones, like one of those mean people who's like always mean as shit. Or is it, I don't get it. I don't get it. I don't get it. I've never had a big dog and I don't understand why. Maybe I have to get a big dog, like a sheepdog. I just don't want him scratching my wife. She doesn't like big dogs scratching her. Or I'll make them all extinct if they hurt her. That's terrible. I don't want to hurt my wife. People are mean as shit in this world. This earth, people are so mean. I feel awful. I'm not supposed to make him extinct. That's my own flaw. That's my own flaw. You're not supposed to make any animal that God created extinct. You know, even if you found a legal way you could do it, you're not really supposed to make him extinct. I was almost going to try to make flies extinct because I thought they were gross. I hated flies. I thought they were gross. I didn't like to touch them. They made me feel bad. And I was almost going to make them all extinct and replace them with these little bees that had little yellow stripes around them. And then it was just wrong. It's wrong. I shouldn't have said that. I got to turn this video off. This is a bad example. You can't make dogs extinct, but God talks badly about dogs in the Bible. God talks badly about dogs in the Bible. And it's just, you can't trust them. You can't give them anything sacred because they'll try to attack. They'll throw it to the ground and turn to maybe attack. That's just how dogs are. There are many verses in the Bible that God says they're not the best creatures, but he created them, and many of them get into heaven. And I don't really understand the Bible verses. You may know dogs better. And I would get annoyed with dogs. I didn't like having them unless they're really little because Danica has really little dogs, and people are going to get pissed. I just don't like big dogs, me or my family, unless they're. My sister has a big dog, and somehow I'm nice to him, but you kind of have to watch him because he could like almost turn on you or something. And I just don't understand why somebody would always want one of those dogs around where you kind of have to be a mean person just to be able to get along with. Oh, that's normal for them. They might, they're it's get them as a weapon to protect them or something. I just don't